Okay, someone said, is he a distributor as well?
No, I'm not.
But he has supported. He was there before Herbalife, so he has supported me through the whole thing. Always. Thank you for that, bud.
Thanks. Appreciate you. She said, "Thank you for that, bud." Wow.
For him, at what point you knew it was time to bend the knee?
Wow. That's a great question. I mean, honestly, I think probably within, just so that I'm reasonable, definitely within 2 years, I know that this is someone I can have a future with. Because like even our conversations were always about how would our businesses in the long term complement one another, right? Even looking at our living situations, right? At the time, she was living like in a very small studio, and I'm sure she shared that part of her story. And we talked about like investing into real estate and buying homes and buildings, and we would walk after maybe getting dinner or lunch or something and be like, man, I want to own something that looks like this. Or like much of the time at that time for me, I'm like, man, this is someone I see a future with. But there was one time in front of my house, I didn't have a car at the time, she had a car. So we're sitting in her car talking, and she said something about, if you had a daughter, would you let her date? Or like, I don't know how the conversation came up, but that was literally the situation. And I responded with no. I said, no, absolutely not. Like in my culture, the way I grew up, Muslim, Middle Eastern, there is no dating. So even like my get-togethers with her, I never looked at it as, oh, this is my girlfriend or I'm dating. It was more of, we're building toward marriage. And I know like you might be like, but that's dating. Again, for me, and again, if anyone is Middle Eastern, you can understand that. Like there is no dating in our culture. Oftentimes when you're like meeting a potential spouse, you speak to their family, you get engaged, or you read what they would call like the opening surah, right? Anyone who speaks Arabic understands what I'm saying, which is like the first, what is it called? The first scripture in the Quran, right? Or the opening scripture of the Quran. You would read that between the male and the daughter's father or the girl's father. And that would start kind of this getting to know each other period, where if you guys were to go anywhere, maybe she had a younger sibling or he had a sibling, someone is always present just to kind of make sure that there are boundaries in place. But there isn't any what you would consider traditional dating in the Western world, right? So long story short, that's how I looked at it, and my response was like, no, absolutely not. I wouldn't do that. And she was like, what? How
you guys can imagine, in my mind, remember, I'm 21. I'm not as, for those who are new followers, like, I don't want to, what's it called, chew your own horn or whatever.
Right.
But I've grown a lot.
Yeah. So she was like, what? How hypocritical of you. I can't believe you were saying that. Like,
so what are we?
Right. So that started a whole dilemma, but it really led us to the conversation of, it was kind of a blessing and a curse, because it started to challenge us to talk about, well, how is it that you want to be together or get married, but we don't believe the same things, and we have different values and beliefs around how we want to raise children and lead a family. And I was very like gung-ho on what I wanted and how I wanted to do it, and same for her, right? Respectfully, she had her beliefs and how she was raised and how she wanted to do it. So much of our kind of cycle in the relationship was, man, I love this girl, I want to be with her, let's try. No, it's not going to work because we don't believe the same. Okay, well, I love you, but goodbye. And then it's like, man, but we kept following that cycle. We would continue to come back, and most of the time she would send a text and like check in, and then it would open up the cycle again. And that happened honestly for 3 years or 4 years, until we had reached enough personal growth to be like, let's continue to take it day by day and be committed to making it work with each other, instead of trying to enforce our will on the other person. Like, let me not try and enforce my will on her, and she won't enforce her will on me, but we know that we want to make us work as a unit, as a collective, as a couple. And that just became the new goal, instead of trying to, weigh apples and oranges every day. But yeah, so to answer the question, this was a little long-winded answer, but I knew, pretty quickly, like within a year and a half or two, I kind of like had tested enough character concepts or questions to be like, okay, this person obviously is loyal, is respectful, is trustworthy, is an amazing person, is a visionary, has big dreams, is hardworking. Good job, bud.
Yeah, and there's a girl that said like, oh my god, how do you find your soulmate? I'm not here to tell you guys that this is perfect. This has been hard. This relationships are hard if you want them to work, but this has not been like the easiest thing for us to do. But I believe that love is a choice, you know, and I believe that marriage is a choice, and so you choose to be with whomever you choose to be, right? Another question is, will he live with you in DR? No, we'll be in New York for now, but I did want to live in DR like at least 2 months out of the year, but we're still playing around with the idea. He still has to visit and see, etc. Where he comes from.
I was born in Cairo, Egypt. I came to the States when I was 7 years old in New York. And I went back one time in the year, I believe 2000 or early 2001. And I've been in the States ever since. So yeah, Middle Eastern, Egyptian, Muslim, thank to God, and
Alhamdulillah.
Indeed.
Yeah, he lives in New York. That question was asked. Since when you guys been together, we already answered that. There's a lot of repeat. Oh, ¿Quién conquistó a quién? So like, who attracted who? I think it was through timing. This is not love at first sight. This wasn't like, oh, I saw him and I fell in love. No. I really, really, really respected, I don't want to use it in the past tense because I still do, but I admire Mostafa as a person. Like, I do. He's helped me so much. Like, I used to have him saved in my phone as mentor. He's helped me so much in my growth, and like, I loved him as a person before I loved him as like a partner. I was so grateful for him. Like, those people that you're like, I'm so like, you're an amazing persona. So I think it was like, I don't think there was much pursuing in that sense, as in like, ooh, let me get this girl, because we kind of became like best friends, and then from there took off. So I don't think we could say one for the other.
Yeah, no, that's right. I agree with that.
What type of wedding vibes will you be going with? Well, you guys saw we got married 2 weeks after, because this was after the proposal. So, but if I gotta describe a wedding vibe, because God willing, we may celebrate next year for the 1 year anniversary. I want a super chill wedding. The reason why I want a wedding is because I didn't have a sweet 15, so I'm gonna dance with my dad. And so I want like a backyard, super simple. I have a huge family, where everybody's just having fun, where we get to share our vows, you know, get some blessings, because I believe the center of both of our lives is God. So find a way where he feels fulfilled, I feel fulfilled, in terms of maybe a prayer, who knows, we'll see what we come up with. And I just want everybody dancing. That's what I want. How about you? What wedding vibes?
Yeah, I think I'm liking the new modern ways of doing wedding, right? It's not so traditional. It's not so much that, you know, you're stressed out and doing the most to go through things and end up not really enjoying a night that was supposed to be for you. So I do like the balance of you loosen up the tie a little bit, kind of, you know, open up that top button, allow people to kind of get comfortable and just really celebrate love and the idea of a union, instead of making it this uptight, everything has to be perfect and according to like a minute by minute schedule. That is just too stressful. So yeah, I would say casual, you know, relaxed, but everyone is just enjoying the company of each other.
He didn't even want a wedding, by the way. He wanted more of like, he was cool with the dinner. Like with what we did, he was cool with that. But he's cool with having one now. Okay, someone said, is he Arabic or Muslim? I learned this too. I'm not trying to like be mean, but Arabic is a language. So Muslim is a religion. So he's Egyptian. He's not Arabic, and he is Muslim. He happens to be. But yeah, that's funny. A lot of people are like, "Are you Arabic?" And it's like, "Oh, that's a language." But that was me before too. So, but Arabic is a religion. I mean, a language, and he does speak Arabic very well, right?
Yes, and recomendados.
I just know like 20 words. I get so excited when I hear him like full blown speaking. I'm like, oh, I know that word. But I want to learn Arabic. Can you guys make a YouTube video of everything? How you met? How did it start? Well, here it is. Here you have it. Cloud Gazer 1978. Shout out to you. How did I know he was the one? I think the same, I don't mean to be cliche, but the same thing Mostafa said about me. It's like, you know, as you're growing up and you have stages in your life where it's like, to be honest, like there could be like, oh, he's so cute or he's so this, but you get to a point where it's like, well, is that somebody who's like holding it down? But Mostafa is my best friend. I just can't see myself doing life. Like if I have to think about someone who to have a family with, to grow with, to do life with, like a life partner, I choose him because I know that we'll get through anything together. You know, a lot of my weaknesses are his strength. And no, it's like I feel like for us women, a lot of the times what we mostly want is to feel protected in every sense of the word. And I found kind of like my protection in him. And so, yeah, that's how I knew.
Okay, poet.
Oh, wow, that was cute,
Okay,
right?
poet.
Not cute.
Found my protection in you, okay?
How old are you both? I'm 27.
And I'm 31.
Someone asked about our coordinate sign. But I'm a Libra and he's an Aries, April 1st. What is your favorite thing about him? My favorite thing about Mostafa is his heart. Like Mostafa can be very intimidating. But, and even to this day, sometimes he does things I'm like, oh my God, he was very serious. Like he's not gonna like put it down after that. He was very serious. And then deep down, it's not that he's soft, but deep down, he really cares. Like, you know how there's people that like, I care. No, deep down, he really cares. Really cares. And something I love about him, but it's so annoying to me because it's not something I have, is his perfectionism. Just setting this video up, you guys. Like, I'm just like, can we start? It's like, no, here's the light, here's the mic, and here's this. So it's not something I have. I'm not so detail oriented. But I love that about him when he does something, like the proposal. So perfect, so detail oriented. Everything he does, I know it's gonna be to the best of his ability. But sometimes it's annoying, because I don't work that way.
Yeah. And I had to learn that, you know, there's a fine balance to everything in terms of what you bring to your natural abilities. There's always a part of it that's like, okay, you're overdoing it. So I'm working on that. I'm not perfect. That's a part of me that I get to work out on.
It says, what is that thing that unites you both the most? Let's say it together. 1, 2, 3. God.
I was gonna say other things.
What?
Like food, working out. But God definitely is it, yeah.
Él es dominicano. Contéstale en español.
Yo hablo español.
No, preguntaron que si tú eres dominicano.
No. Yo estoy de Egipto.
Yo soy.
Yo soy de Egipto.
Uh-huh.
Pero cuando estoy joven.
Cuando estaba
joven, yo jugando béisbol.
Uh-huh.
Y mis amigos son latinos.
Uh-huh. Dominicanos, la mayoría.
So I was introduced to the culture. I love the music. I love the food. And yeah, that's kind of how it made it normal for me. So I kind of like, I think I'm what they call, I forget, there's a term for it, I know for sure, but I'm definitely someone, because of my experience and how I grew up and where I was born and when I migrated here, I'm too American to be Egyptian, and I'm too Egyptian to be American. So like I was always like in this like third world, put me in any circle and I kind of gravitate and I'm able to blend because I appreciate the differences or some of like the unique things that that culture may have, that I gravitate toward, and I'm able to build good relationships with the people. So while
tell them your slogan while you're at it.
Yeah, I mean,
your life. What do you call it?
My life mission, or like just my purpose. Yeah, no, I mean, I think I've simplified it just based on my story and my experience and how I grew up. And as I mentioned, I'm Muslim, and of course grew up in New York, migrated from Egypt. So I was in 5th grade on September 11, 2001. And from my school windows, we literally saw the Twin Towers on fire after that first plane hit the towers. So, you know, you can only imagine for those who grew up during that era, the media completely flipped the script on what it meant to be Muslim. So I went from being a kid who was going to school to then being called a terrorist. Right? So I grew up through that experience, and my response or my choice, at least in terms of how I wanted to respond, and not immediately, I'm not saying I figured this out at 11 years old, but over time, as I really started to conceptualize who I am and what makes me me, I wanted to be a part of the solution and not the problem. So I said, okay, rather than me hating Americans or non-Muslims for bashing Muslims, let me show them the true essence of what it is to be Muslim, to be accepting, to be loving, to be caring, to be giving, right? And not judge people for their differences, but actually accept them. So that definitely is God ordained and all created, because for me, like, it just falls in line with what I do now for work and who I am as a person. So literally I get to do like who I am for a living, like, right? You know what I'm saying? Like, who I am is what I do, really the best way to say it. So that phrase, I'm in management consulting now. So we provide solutions for like small business owners, entrepreneurs, professional athletes. So like we literally work a long way, but for me now, that phrase is uniting people of diverse backgrounds. So whether that's co-workers, one may be black, one may be white, one may be Latino, and the other is Muslim, whatever that case may be, is being able to put those differences aside and get focused in on one common goal or one mission, and really driving impact to the world, to the company, to the environment, the culture. So that's what I'm about. That's what I do.
Yeah, I truly believe in that. Last question. How do you manage your cultural difference?
So, I mean, for me, like I said, because my experience helped me to be accepting and welcoming of other people's differences or things that are not of what I am, I think just to give you a practical, tangible thing to do, the first thing is don't be so quick to judge something that you wouldn't do, because there's a reason why the other person who is not like you is doing things that way, right? Like, you can't just minimize their beliefs and what they think and say, no, mine is better, it has to be done this way. It's not fair, right? Like, they've had a unique experience as well, and you have to add value to that, or at least respect it. And over time, once you go into their world, they're more open and welcoming of your, unique preferences and what you do. So I think that's something that I've learned through, again, my experience and wanting to be a part of the solution and not the problem. And as you do that, you begin to educate each other about the why, right? So like, there are certain things we do in our culture, and as I educate Rubosi about the why, she becomes more accepting and welcoming, even if she may not opt or choose to do it herself or practice that specific belief herself. She's more understanding of it, and it's like, okay, I understand why that holds such important value in your life, and I'm not gonna try and minimize that. And the same thing, I imagine her, but yeah, I'll let you.
I'd answer that question with just respect. Like, respect is huge. I'm someone who, like, some things that I know and I've researched and I stand by, before I would want to put it on you, and now I want you to become aware of it. Like, hey, I just want you to, I know you're shopping for green, but I just want to let you know that there's also blue, in case you want blue. And so I feel like that transition within me, at the end of the day, has helped me, like, just respect him for who he is and for what he wants. It's like, dang, okay, sometimes I don't agree, but it's like, but that's what you really want. It's your choice, right? Sometimes we want to control one another too much, and at one point with the on and off, I was like, dang, like, it'd be so much easier to not, like, be in love with him, or to not, it'd be so much easier. But at the end of the day, it was like, no matter how far we would go, we'd end up like by each other. So you just make it, when you want something, you just make it work kind of thing. And so I respect, and instead of, at the beginning there was a lot of fear, because you know, we fear the unknown. You walk into a house, you see evil eyes, you hear Arabic full blown, you don't understand anything. That's uncomfortable, you know, for anybody, because I'm like, I don't know what they're saying, and I don't know this. But now it's like, it's cool. I'm gonna learn a new language. It's cool. Like, I can't wait to go to Egypt. So yeah, I think respect. And when you love someone, you want to know all about it, you know, and you want to figure it out, and you want to make it work. So I think that's how we cope with it. And God, I don't think this would work if we didn't like believe in God as much as we do. So I think like having our number one priority be common, and some of our values be common, like we share common values, is what allowed it to get to here.
I agree.
I hope you guys enjoyed that. And I'm not as consistent as I should be on YouTube, but if you are in a different cultural relationship, or if you're married to someone who maybe shares a different religion than you or a different culture than you, I would love to know a little bit about your story below, or just share with us like what are the countries or the cultures or the religion difference, how did you guys do it, and then any other questions that we may have missed. And thank you for hanging and for asking all those questions. So we really appreciate it. I don't take for granted this community. It's how I've built my business, and I have met the most amazing people who matter to me so much today. So I thank God, alhamdulillah, for social media and for you guys.
I love it. I love it. Much love to you all. God bless.
Our hashtag is Ghonim into love.
Yeah, that's my last name.
We're just playing with this. If they mean something different, we don't need to. Okay, bye.
Mm-hmm.